Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. It's very rare that we see accountability. I mean, we almost never see accountability within the government. That at this point seems like a damn pipe dream. But it's almost equally as rare that we see accountability within the mainstream media. Except maybe things are changing for the better at least a little bit. Maybe the year 2022 has tipped the scales at least just a tiny bit. And I say that because we have seen more accountability for the actions of these dishonest media hacks, these DNC shills masquerading as journalists, than ever before. And it continues. It started with CNN basically cleaning house of all of these despicable, dishonest goons. Well, not all of them, but a good chunk of them. And it seems as though we have one more example, one more event to top off the year. I mean, the year's not over yet. We haven't officially hit January, but we have one more instance to top off the year as NBC journalist Ben Collins is held to account for his dishonest covering of Elon Musk at Twitter. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. Let's talk a little bit about this phenomenon. Let's talk about accountability. We also have some major lawsuits coming down the pike here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so like I said, it's very rare that we see it, but it's becoming more and more common nowadays. NBC suspends Ben Collins for criticism of Elon Musk that is, quote, not editorially appropriate. NBC News has temporarily benched reporter Ben Collins for covering Elon Musk on NBC and MSNBC for his controversial attacks on the Twitter owner, who recently suspended the accounts of left-wing journalists who doxed him. According to two sources that spoke with Semaphore, the network gave Collins the bad news earlier this month. Apparently, his criticisms of the tech mogul were not editorially appropriate. Since being handed down a suspension from his employer, Collins has continued tweeting about Musk. In the last day, the NBC journalist has been carrying water for those who doxed Musk's location, which he said led to his son being stalked on Tuesday. According to Collins, journalists who shared Musk's location via an online flight tracker were suspended from Twitter for simply, quote, covering the Tesla founder. Take a look just how dishonest this Ben Collins clown is. Journalists who cover Elon Musk have been suspended on Twitter tonight. Donnie O'Sullivan from CNN, Aaron Rupar from the Washington Post. Rupar tells me he has no idea why it happened. It doesn't get any more dishonest than this absolute friggin' hack. All these same blue checkmark mainstream media shills, they all friggin' look the same with their official portraits, their fancy blue suits and gradient backgrounds. And they all act the same too, totally dishonest. We don't know exactly what the details are and what Ben Collins did to be reprimanded with this suspension, but you know, his tweet after being suspended basically tells you all that you need to know. This is why he got suspended, because he's dishonest, he's a liar, and he's spinning the news instead of reporting on it. Journalists just simply covering Elon Musk have been suspended. Aaron Rupar has no idea why. This is what these clowns do. They twist and they use words and they use these slick little tactics to mislead readers who are depending on them to get the full facts. These journalists weren't merely covering Elon Musk, they were dangerously publishing to millions of people Elon Musk's real-time location, and it led to a security threat and the potential harming of his family. I mean, it's just friggin' ridiculous. But what's even more ridiculous is the manufactured faux outrage. Here's Taylor Lorenz. Musk has begun banning journalists who have criticized him from Twitter, including WAPO's Drew Harwell, New York Times' Ryan Mack, and CNN's Donnie O'Sullivan. My whole timeline is glitched out and people continue to report my tweets, so I'm worried I'll be banned soon too. Elon Musk responds, clearly setting the record straight. Criticizing me all day is totally fine, but doxing my real-time location and endangering my family is not. And you could see these supposed journalists like Taylor Lorenz and Ben Collins are trying to switch up the narrative here. They're trying to drum up and twist the news to make it seem as though Elon Musk is just targeting left-wing journalists. It's completely ridiculous. These people are liars, and they're all part of the same little crew, the same little journalist cult, or rather, journalist cult. And that's why you see them all lying and defending each other. I mean, Ben Collins comes swooping in to defend Aaron Rupar and Donnie O'Sullivan, trying to craft this narrative. Rupar tells me he has no idea why it happened. They know exactly why, because they're all the same. They all do the same. Actually, there's this clip that Don't Walk Run Productions posted on his Twitter timeline just the other day, where he totally exposes Aaron Rupar for the dishonest journalist that he is.
Will you pledge never to lie to us from that podium?
I will never lie to you. You have my word on that.
I would not have been so gracious in answering Joe Colvin, who is definitely not an objective reporter, but Kayleigh's answer was what it needed to be.
I think it was a grave miscarriage of justice, what happened with Justice Brett Kavanaugh. There's no need for me to bring up some of the salacious, awful, and verifiably false allegations that were made against Justice Kavanaugh.
And that's when the hit pieces started. Vox's Aaron Rupar wrote that McEnany's statement about the Kavanaugh allegations was a lie. Then Rupar completely misquoted McEnany. Let me play you what she said versus what Rupar wrote.
There's no need for me to bring up some of the salacious, awful, and verifiably false allegations that were made against Justice Kavanaugh.
By misquoting her, Aaron Rupar made it look like that she was saying that all of the allegations were verifiably false, when in reality, McEnany said some. And that some would include the allegation by Judy Monroe Layton, who admitted that the claims she made in a letter to Congress were fabricated and that she wrote the letter as a ploy to get attention. So yes, Aaron Rupar of Vox, some of those allegations were verifiably false.
And so you see a similarity. This is what I mean by they're all the same. Those little sly tactics that all these individuals use to craft and twist the narrative. What Aaron Rupar did there is the exact same thing that Ben Collins is doing in defense of Aaron Rupar. Journalists who cover Elon Musk and completely omits the key facts to give people the real picture as to what's going on. These people are the worst, and it's about damn time that there's some semblance of accountability. But of course, as we know, accountability for their actions doesn't come free. It's something you gotta work for, and that's why we have to see more of this. Brandon Straka sues MSNBC, Chris Hayes, and Ari Melber for defamation over January 6 allegations. Today, I filed a defamation lawsuit against MSNBC, Chris Hayes, and Ari Melber. I'm fighting back on behalf of every American whose lives have been irreparably harmed by the duplicitous mainstream media. And to add on top of that, here goes Donald Trump launching a defamation lawsuit against the Pulitzer Prize for upholding awards for debunked Russia collusion reporters. A large swath of Americans had a tremendous misunderstanding of the truth at the Times, and the Post's propaganda of the Russia collusion hoax dominated the media. Remarkably, they were rewarded for lying to the American public. And it's a great point. Pulitzer Prizes were handed to all of the most dishonest media left-wing hacks, pushing an absolutely false, bogus, garbage, salacious conspiracy theory, and it wasn't even really a conspiracy theory, more of a conspiracy, a purposely manufactured false narrative about the President of the United States, and many of those false reports were used to then justify FISA warrants and investigations, and even the impeachment of Donald Trump. And the Pulitzer Prize has yet to revoke those awards. Well, if they're not going to revoke those awards, you gotta work for it. You gotta work for accountability, and it's a great thing that we're finally seeing these lefty hacks being suspended and being fired for the damage, for the venom, the toxicity that they have created through their disrespect and disregard for journalistic ethics. But it has to go beyond that, because a mere suspension or a mere retracting of a story or even revoking of a Pulitzer Prize doesn't even come close to remedy, to mend, to cure the damage that has been caused by these dishonest, corrupt actors in the media. They must be held accountable for their crimes. And in the justice system, you have sentences that match the crime. We should be seeing the exact same thing in the cultural sphere, in the media sphere, and honestly, to a certain extent, in some cases, what they do is criminal, even through the legal system, with these massive defamation suits, these massive defamation settlements. Your network, your publication should go bankrupt for the kind of dishonest actions we have seen from the media. From Donald Trump to the Covington kids to Kyle Rittenhouse, January 6 defendants, Trump supporters, honestly in general, but particular Trump supporters who they endlessly call neo-Nazis, and the list goes on. They should be sued into oblivion and be forced to pay hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in damages. You shouldn't be able to defame people's characters publicly. Like I always say, to inject the kind of venom and misinformation, disinformation that they constantly do and get away with it. It's one thing if you get the information wrong or if you misinterpret something. It's another if you purposely and viciously lie with malicious intent to achieve a particular political outcome. These people are corrupt, they're criminal, and what they're doing is just fundamentally unfair to the American people and to the truth. And actually, speaking of unfair or fairness, Elon Musk actually, as I'm recording this video, just unbanned all the leftist journalists who doxed him because he conducted a poll and the majority of respondents agreed that they should be unbanned. Just goes to show who acts in good faith and who is being fair in respect to the other side, who would rather dig their own grave than ever be fair to the conservative cultural side. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.